How's it going, boys and girls? Data here, and welcome back to the Minnesota Wild franchise mode, episode 23, here at the beginning of year number 6, the 2025-2026 regular season. And just before we really get into this episode, I just want to say a big thank you to everyone for 2,500 subscribers here on the YouTube channel. 2,500 was my original goal at the beginning of the year for 2021. A lot of people told me, no way, that's way too low, and it looks like, yes it was, since we've already hit it before April. So thank you to everyone for subscribing here on the channel. I'm sorry that it's been a week since the last franchise mode episode. The live streams and everything have been going well, but it's tough to get so many franchise mode episodes out just at this moment in the semester. But as things are winding down and we're moving closer to summer, we'll be back to 2-3 episodes per week as we've always loved doing. In the last episode, we finished off the off season by starting the preseason and going out and finally hiring our new head coach moving forward. Colton Reinprecht, aka Ron Howard, gave Pat a good laugh. We signed him to an 8-year contract. Attributes looking good. They're only going to grow. He is 60 years of age. Doesn't look like it. He's a young, spry man. But if he retires, so be it. At least we have him signed for as long as possible. He has a nice 66% team fit. Not ideal with guys like Krug and Sergachev. And that's why we're talking about possibly moving them. Who knows now, future. We'll get into those suggestions in a moment. We also promoted Patrick Marleau to our NHL goalie coach. And Cohen Eichel, exact same as Colton Reinprecht, our AHL coach, which will help us with the development of prospects. Tic Tac left a really funny comment that I really resonated with. When I start my next job, I'm going to walk into the boss's office on day one and tell him, I don't really like the makeup of your office, but I'll do my best to deal with what I'm given. That's exactly what Reinprecht said after I offered him 8 years, $16 million. And he says, I don't really like your roster that much, but I guess I could do it. Would you rather sit at home with your feet on the couch, or do you want $16 million, buddy? You're not getting any younger. So with a new coach comes new chemistry, and with our new head coach, we have +3s throughout the top 9, which is good with real players who are already in the game, but not good for prospects who are generated necessarily. Having a balanced coach is really good for being able to mix and match and swap people throughout the lineup, but as we get into generated prospects who only have certain tendencies and never have other ones, I don't know if this coach is necessarily our man if we're going super deep in this franchise mode. But either way, at the moment, +3s throughout the top 9. Defense +1s. And of course, goaltending, not anything to talk about with chemistry, but Hellebuck backed up by Morozov. So in the last episode, the main questions were whether or not we should bolster the top line. We love Jordan Greenway. He's at a +388. He's always been fantastic. 6 points in 5 games in the preseason. Last season, 57 points. The year before, 63. We like him very much. He's on a beautiful contract. Probably the best in the NHL for what he does and what he's getting paid, to be honest. 4 years at 2.625. And we're wondering, should we move him down to the third line and get someone new on the first line by trading a Prospect and Burakovsky? That is a possibility. Another possibility that we were wondering was what's going on with Mikhail Sergachev as a two-way D, what's going on with Torrey Krug, who's really good but doesn't fit the chemistry, what's up with Leon Botter, who hasn't been growing and is at an 83 still for like this, is it like 3 seasons, 1 overall growth in the last 2-3 seasons? Something like that. So in the last episode, our main targets that we were thinking about were Thomas Chabot, who our scouts said fit all defensive pairings, two-way D. Dylan Cousins, who our scouts says fits the second line. And then Matthew Tkachuk, who our scouts say fit the third line. But as many comments pointed out to me, I won't list them all, but there are a lot of them, the third and first lines are identical with Colton Reinprecht. So it hadn't clicked in the moment for me, but now looking back, of course I see it. When we go to the schemes down here, the first and third lines are both overload, balance. And even if they fit the second line, for example, like Cousins, it's still overload, balance there at the bottom. The only difference is the carry and cycle. So a second line fit isn't crazy, but a third line fit is identical to a first line fit. So when it came to the consensus of who we should go after, Mike says he would prioritize Chabot over Tkachuk personally, but if we could swing both, we should definitely go for it. I think the coaching change was smart for sure. Thank you, Mike. And then Josh also saying about this, you've got Reinprecht as your head coach, same loadout for the first and third lines, so Tkachuk would fit. Thank you very much, Josh. I needed someone. Well, there's a lot of people who told me that, but I needed to hear it. Apo says that he would go after Shabbat as he would help the team. If we can get him cheap, then you should consider that option. And then I followed up. I said, Apo, if Shabbat would cost Sergachev and picks or prospects, because with the trade value of Sergachev and Shabbat being even, I wouldn't be surprised if it cost Sergachev and maybe like a second and a third round pick, maybe even more. Apple then says, if that's the price, maybe not. That's a bit expensive. Maybe it would be better to look for good and cheaper defensemen who fit. Lawtrip says Shabbat is the play. Michael says, just something to note here that some people may have commented on. Yes, Tkachuk and Kaprizov. Also Kaprizov, I can't forget him. He also fits. We weren't necessarily thinking about him very much, but Kaprizov does fit. So theoretically, they would fit, but he doesn't know about the +5. So I could tell you right now, there would be no +5 on the first line, no matter who we got. Because Klim Kostin, who has all green check marks, even he does not get the +5. We need a line score of at least 11 or more with the playmaker power forward sniper combo, and our line score is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're missing 2 green check marks to get that +5. So we'd have to move out Rossi, which means, like, for example, Kovanov here, who has a better line score, that would get us the +5. But no matter who we get as a power forward, if Greenway would be moving out, there's no way to get a +5. Isaiah says he would try to trade Botter. He doesn't seem to grow, and he isn't having great numbers. By the deadline, I would trade him, but you don't have to do it. So I like that suggestion of by the deadline, because if there were other defensive defensemen in the league who we could go out and get, Leon Botter, I think he'd be gone. He hasn't been bad, but if there was someone better, I'd go for it. However, there is like no better defensive defenseman in the NHL. There's barely any at all to begin with, as we saw in the last episode, because EA has not yet generated their souls to exist yet. So eventually that might be the move, but I think at the moment, at least for a little bit, Botter is good to go on this team, as well as Sergachev, as we'll talk about in a moment. It's just so complicated with all the line chemistry, like Schneebauer talking about how there's no generated balance D-men, so because of that, EA only generating pinch and shoot and cycles draft prospects. We need to take that into consideration. So it's inevitable that down the road we'll have to get a forward-minded coach with shoot or cycle plus pinch preferences on 2 of the 3 D pairings. So that's something to think about down the road for sure. Like I was mentioning earlier, as we get further into the NHL and as more of the league is generated, we may have to think about changing coaches. So I don't know if we'll go 8 seasons with Ryan Precht, but at the moment, +3s throughout the top 9 are pretty good. Hoot Boy with a few suggestions here. First says, sign a veteran for the fourth line center who can win faceoffs and throws the body around. So we need someone who gets those stats, gets a lot of steals, good defensive giveaways, takeaway ratio, all that good stuff. Two-way forward would also help the penalty kill. So with this coach, it would probably be a yellow there no matter what. Just quickly looking at Mason Shaw, who's our current 4th line center. He's listed as a depth forward, 81 overall, top 9 potential, 3 points in 5 games in the preseason. He has 82 faceoffs. He's listed as a playmaker, not really physical, 99 discipline, very good boy. He is a real wild player, 4th round pick in 2017. Last season, he played in the NHL 58 games, scored 12 points. Hasn't been as great as I've seen him in other franchise modes, as Kovanov is starting to take the ball and run with it. And his line fit in general is not great there in the bottom right corner. So a 4th line center, or at least a depth 4th line center, like Ivan Chekovich is also good, but also listed as a sniper. So getting one more depth forward would not be a bad idea. Botter basically is a defensive defenseman. He won't get many points no matter what you do, and he will also not really grow because the game is just like that, even though you might get him to 84 or 85, unless your name is Ellington, apparently. You could think about moving him, but he has been really good, so maybe having him as a top 4 defender is not too bad, since he's not really making a lot of money either. So Botter, he has 4 more years of 4.9. The German bread and Redenbacher pickles, Orville Redenbacher, all the memes are flying everywhere. 41 points in 272 career games, a +37. The last 2 years, he's been a +42. Gets a lot of penalty minutes, actually, but he's been a big presence, 6'4", on the blue line. So moving him is not a priority, I don't think. So now we're moving into some talk about line chemistry. Hoot Boy says that we could get a +5 if they're offensive and defensive, even when there's only 1 green, 1 yellow. That is correct. So here's what he would do. Swap Ellington and Sergachev. You should get a +1 on that second line. So that would be doing this. And then he says trade Botter for an elite offensive defenseman who fits that first pairing, and then we can get a +5 on that first pair. So we would basically be saying, okay, Ellington's going to go here, Botter is going to be traded, and then the second pair is going to be Krug and Sergachev with a +1, and Krug would be traded down the road, but for the moment we get a +5 with some offensive defensemen playing with Ellington. So that's a really good option, because trading Botter on his own for another defensive defenseman didn't make sense, but trading him for an offensive defenseman, now that is interesting. However, we are going to have to send out the scouts and see who fits, so I'm not pressed to make this decision, although I will keep it in mind and I will be scouting some offensive defensemen as the season goes on, and that's probably a trade deadline decision since we'll be pausing this episode at the trade deadline. Also keep an eye on Korea, as he may be kind of one of those two-way guys who are more offensive. He has 83 offensive awareness, down in the OHL at 63 points, so maybe we could try to squeeze out some power play time. We'll see what we can do to get Dimitris Korea to grow this season. But thank you for that great comment, Hoot Hoot Boy. Jackie says, trade for Matthew Tkachuk. He does not have a lot of trade value. You could trade Hextall for him, and then the value would be on your side. You could also trade Sergachev and some picks or prospects for Thomas Chabot, as they have around the same trade value. You could even use Montgomery. So that's another option right there. Sergachev being swapped for Chabot, like we were saying. It would cost a bit, but I'm down for it. I just want to wait a little bit into the beginning of the season and give these guys a chance. Last YouTube comment here coming from Legend says that we should give Greenway one last chance. Regular season numbers have been good. Hasn't been great in the playoffs, but if he doesn't take this chance and run with it, we may have to look to get an upgrade on him. And then we should also make a move for Chabot. Even though Sergachev is good, if Chabot fits better, so be it, and get Chabot. Note that for the second option, I don't really think it's necessary at the moment. Even though it's a +1, I've seen Sergachev sim like an animal with good ice time. So it's worth a shot for, say, 20 to 40 games just to see how it works. If it fails, then we go after Chabot. If not, continue rolling with Sergachev, and no harm, no foul. So much appreciated right there. Sergachev, he has been good. There's no problems with Mikhail Sergachev. He's been solid. A couple seasons ago, he had 22 points in 50 games before getting injured. Last season, only 32. But in his first 2 full seasons here, he got 50, then 48 points. So I think putting him on the top pair, playing with Leon Botter, might not be the craziest combo, but I think that he could really do a lot of good things. Worst case, we could try putting Krug up there on the top with Sergachev. Then we could move Botter or Ellington to the third pair. There's a lot of options here. Quickly running through the Discord suggestions now as well. Hef says, yes, the classic issue of all the defensemen being pinch cycle, very familiar. Do think Chabot is interesting. Sergachev and Hextall could probably get you him for Menton and a decent pick in return. I don't know about that, and he won't get you a +5. He'll at least be conventionally good. Wouldn't trade Botter until at least a month or two. If you do plan on dumping him, at least give him one last chance under a new coach. That's a great point. On the forward front, you don't need to put too much stock into what the line fit says, because as we saw earlier, most of those lines are just the same. From a purely non-practical role-playing perspective, I think Matthew Tkachuk would be a great fit on the first power play as a guy who can pick the team up by the scruff of the neck and pull them through the playoffs. And from an in-game perspective, he's got a good offensive awareness and fit. Sully also added on to Hef's point, saying that if a forward fits your power play, you're golden. Every line is overload, so scouting pretty much becomes binary. Overload, yes. Behind the net, no. Defense, shoot, yes. Cycle, no. Kind of liberating to just cut the league in half, but really a questionable system, in my humble opinion. There were some other points in the Discord server about Torrey Krug possibly being a move, but we agreed that it'll probably be more of a deadline thing. Krug has been an absolute animal in his 2 full seasons with us, and then plus that 30 games that he also played, scoring 66 points last year. He won the Norris Trophy in 2024. He has been amazing, and while he is going down in age, his overall is still up. Potential's at top 4D, but he still has 2 years left on this deal, so I don't see a trade happening until at the absolute earliest at this trade deadline, and maybe next season that's something that we consider again. But for right now, I'm very content with Torrey Krug. Tic Tac coming in with another great comment saying that regarding the roster, the forwards are meshing really well, and I would leave the forwards as is. So that means no Kravtsov, no Tkachuk, no Cousins. While the D chemistry isn't great, your overalls are still very good, and now having a coach with better fit should lead to better team defense. Why don't we just leave things as they are for the first 20 games and see how the team does under the new coach? If it doesn't work out, then we can target Chabot. I know Sergachev is the guy you're eyeing to move, but why not give them 20 games to see how they fit under the new coach? I could not agree more, and that is exactly what we will do. Hobbsy agrees with that comment and says that Tkachuk and Chabot would be the most fitting options that make the most sense. Krugenbotter seems to have limited days here, but I think that they're okay for now. We'll see how it goes. And also adding on to that fourth line center idea, that we'll see how the penalty kill goes to start the year, and then maybe a good fourth line center with good defensive stats that fits the PK would be a good option as well. I know this is a super long intro of comments, but there was a lot to say about chemistry and ideas, so absolute last commentary coming from Sully. Scout any defensive defensemen that would have been in the game at the start, as they will be the gents with balance / shoot. I realize the options will be limited since it's half a decade in, but even a vet 79 as a 7th D-man, as Visible Brush 821, Mr. Andrew, suggested, could be a huge boon. Just to muddy the waters further, send the scouts out to look at some two-way forwards. Two two-way forwards and a power forward can also get a +3. You don't need more than 8 forwards getting power play time, so a +3 or a +5 hunting for the penalty kill is also a possibility going forward. So if you don't care about the comments, I hope you've jumped ahead, but those are a lot of comments. I appreciate everyone taking the time to leave such well thought out ideas and suggestions. All that to say, we're just going to see how things go, but after 20-30 games-ish, there could be some big decisions to make, whether it be Kravtsov, Tkachuk, Shabbat, a fourth line center, even goaltending, I don't know. But either way, let's just get this season started and underway. It's year number 6. The original Minnesota Wild that we had to start off this franchise mode. We still have Kaprizov, Rossi, Greenway, Fiala, and Mason Shaw-Kovanov. They were in the minors, bold. But aside from those names, the other big ones have changed, like Brad Lambert. We're really high on him, now at low franchise potential. He's coming off a great season, has 92 offensive awareness, 99 discipline, 4.5-star defense. The third line of Burakovsky, I was not sold on Burakovsky. I was thinking we were going to trade him right away, but he finds himself with a little bit of life. He is definitely trade bait if a trade needs to happen, but for the moment, he is alive and well on that third line. Comtois and Kaut are the new fourth liners. We got Kostin at an 84, perfect line fit. Defense is overhauled from when we first took this team over, but Sergachev has been here the longest. Goaltending, it's Connor Hellebuck's second and likely final season on the team, up to an 89 overall, and Maxim Morozov, our 56th overall selection in 2021, with high starter potential, is making his NHL debut as our backup. We got Hunter Jones, Chekovich as healthy scratches. I should probably get a defenseman on healthy scratch as well. Down in the minors, I have to fix the chemistry here. So the lines will be looking like this. So there we go. The lines aren't great chemistry-wise, but it's a weird year of kind of trying to get some young guys in the bottom 6 here. Then we also have some guys who we want to really be growing, like Rodin, and then just some accompanying cast like Volkov, Bemstrom, Tracy. So it's a bit of a weird team here in Iowa, but we'll see what we can do after setting records last season, led by Patrick Marleau. Defense got +3, +1, 0. No really prospects at all on defense. And goaltending, we got Sergei Kozevnikov, our first round pick, 27th overall in 2024. He is 20 years of age, already 75 overall, medium league potential. He is ready to start in Iowa, backed up, or even, I guess they'll be sharing starts both at 75 overall with Jesper Wallstedt, who was our third round pick in 2021. He has medium starter potential. Some good players who are scratched, actually, trying to make room for everybody here. And even the special team's not bad with +3, +1. But we'll see how Iowa does. Now to the final piece of business before we can start simulating. We need to get above the cap floor so that our good contracts are not wiped out. The Devils have 2 players on the block who have terrible contracts and like negative value. So that brings us above the cap floor. Who knows if they play at all? Sami Vatanen, why not? 80 overall, maybe he'll play a little bit. Throwback to when he played with us for 2020-2021. He got 27 points in 82 games way back when. And then Travis Hamonic himself, he is a 79 overall. So I'm just going to give them a 7th round pick, and I'm going to hope to see what we can get back from them. I'm going to hope that we can get maybe like a 4th round pick. I don't know. Let me just go crazy here. Let's say 4th, 5th, 6th, and see what they say to this. No, that's not going to make sense. In the real world, this would be a great deal for them. How about just a 4th? Not even. And a 7th round pick. They will do a 7th round pick. So basically, we're swapping 7th round picks, and we get to go above the cap floor, and we also give them a ton of help in getting rid of those players. So, yep, too far off. All right, 7th round pick swaps here. We give up Boston's 7th. You know what? I don't want to give up Boston's 7th. I'm going to give you my 7th next season. Because Boston could be a bad 7th. You never know. I'll give you my 7th next season for your 7th next season. Because I'm going to bet on being better than you in 2027. There we go. All right. Thank you very much, New Jersey. New Jersey, that gets us above the cap floor, I believe. The line looks a bit close there, 74.93. I wish I knew what exactly the cap floor was. But it would not hurt to go out and get another bad contract from a team that wants to move somebody. Kevin Hayes on the block here. $7 million for Kevin Hayes. Oof, that could be crazy. But he does have some value as an 80 overall, so it might be tough to go ahead and get Kevin Hayes. 6th round pick in 2027, and you give me a 4th round pick in 2027 to take that $4 million cap hit off your hands. Nope. And I'll move down to a 7th. How about that? Still no. All right, just straight up. There you go. You'll do it straight up. Kevin Hayes, 6th round, whatever. Let's just do it. Kevin Hayes, welcome. Yeah, I doubt anybody in Philadelphia, I think, will came up, oh, it's a done deal. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So there's Kevin Hayes, I guess. There's our 4th line center question. Depth, if need be. Kevin Hayes, whoa, hold on. Let me go to Kevin Hayes. He is a power forward with 77 faceoffs. Not bad at all for a 4th liner. I think that's a decent pickup. It's not just garbage like Hamonic. No offense to Hamonic, but he's not really going to be playing any games, I don't think. So Kevin Hayes, welcome to Minnesota. We're above the cap floor, no cap issues. And we're ready to start off this season. Only took like 45 minutes, but now I can just fix the roster, and we're good to go. Wonderful. So we have Chekovich and Hayes both as healthy scratches here in the NHL. We have a bunch of defensemen like Vatanen and Brody who we could call up and then send back down through waivers without having to worry. Hunter Jones is our 3rd goalie. Zach Parise, 75 overall, 41 years of age. Didn't want to retire. We signed him to 1 more year just to let him go off into the sunset. Let's get this season started. First by finishing off this game against the Winnipeg Jets. Final game of the preseason, and it will conclude with a 4-2 victory. 10 points in 6 games for Torrey Krug. We can start simulating towards the regular season now, as this was a super long intro. Brad Lambert. Okay, so this was a contract that we sent out last episode. He wasn't, it said that he didn't want the extension, yet an easy decision to decide to renew his contract with us. Appreciate you chose to offer me the type of money that I feel I am worth, so I decided to re-sign. That is music to my ears because Brad Lambert will be a huge pillar on this team moving forward. We just got him locked up for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years at $8 million a season. Pretty solid contract for a guy who has low franchise potential, and I think will be a 90 overall before we know it. So we're ready to hop into game number 1 of the regular season with Ryan Suter retired and Zach Parise like a healthy scratch. We do not have a captain this season. I think that we're going to go with 3 alternates. Although it's Kirill Kaprizov's to lose, I think it would be smart to go with 3 alternates for our first year in a long time with no captain. So Kaprizov with an A, Boldy with another one, as he is another huge part of this team. And the other A, I think it's smart to give it to Mikhail Sergachev. Although Krug is 34 years old and all, Sergachev, he's 27 now. He's been on this team since the beginning of the franchise mode. So I think Kaprizov, Boldy, and Sergachev would be a good move. Even though Sergachev could be on the way out. Who knows? But we will throw him a bone for the beginning of year number 6. Rolling with those 3 A's. I should also make note of the special teams chemistry that we'll be having this season. We have a +3/+3 on the power play with the lines looking, the units looking like this. And then penalty kill, we can't get anything but a -1 unless we put Kaut on the first pair, on the first unit because he's a 2-way forward. So I'd rather have Kaut at an 80 and it's a 0, or Boldy at an 89 and it's a -1, and he has 90 shot blocking, 93 stick checking. I'd rather take that -1. I loaded up the first unit accordingly, and if it's an issue, we can address that later on, but I'm going to try and hope and cross my fingers for that -1 not being too big. So without further ado, let's begin year number 6. Let's burn through to the trade deadline. Let's get the first 20 games done. It all starts off against the Nashville Predators, the team that drafted Brad Lambert way back when, and we have Ryan Murray on that team, Tristan Jarry. They won that Stanley Cup. Let's do it. To kick off our 6th season, Kevin Fiala opens it up on the power play. First period ends 3-2. Yikes. So Oscar Lindblom, Brandon Peary, then Eli Tolvanen score 3 goals in 5 minutes. Kaprizov comes back to score on the power play, but we're down 3-2. 3 goals and 11 shots to open up Connor Hellebuck's 2nd season as a Minnesota Wild. Second period, 4-2. Cole Sillinger. Yikes, we're down by 2, outshooting Nashville by 7. Power play again for the Predators. We kill that one off. Then Kaprizov gets his second of the night. Power play, we're down by 1. We kill off that power play. They have another power play this time. Eli Tolvanen converts on it. We're taking way too many penalties here. Halfway through the third period, still down by 2 despite leading in the shots. That margin has closed, though. Another power play for the Predators. We kill that one off. 2 minutes to go, and nothing comes from game number 1 as we drop it 5-3 the final. Who's taking these penalties? We got Tarky slashing, Kaprizov high sticking, Boldy high sticking, double minor, Kaut hooking, and Greenway hooking. Great. 36 shots. Askarov stood tall. And Kaprizov first started the game with 2 goals, but Yossi 3 assists, Tolvanen 2 goals. And we drop it to a rival to 5-3 the final for game number 1. Let's just try and get our first dub here. We're still at home at the XL Energy Center. We're up against the St. Louis Blues. Let's try and get that first dub here in front of the fans. Let's go. Clint Costin's old team. Let's do it. First period, 1-0. Martin Kaut opens up the scoring, his first as a Minnesota Wild. Second period, 3-1. So Shane Wright scores early, a future star on the Blues. But then Marco Rossi comes back less than a minute later to give us that lead, restore that lead. And then Demetrius Correa with his first NHL goal gives us a 3-1 lead. It's 2 goals in our favor heading into the third, but Braden Shen closes that quickly with an early goal. But then I keep saying Martin and Maxime. Marco Rossi, his second of the night, and that 2-goal lead is back. Power plays being traded back and forth. Alex Ovechkin, now on St. Louis, brings them within 1. Almost a power play goal. It was right as almost a shorthanded goal, I think, actually. Under 5 to go now. We're holding on to that 1-goal lead, being outshot like crazy, and we just hang on tight. The last couple minutes, we were being barraged with shots. 33-24 the final for St. Louis, but we come out with the 4-3 victory. Marco Rossi with 2 goals, Kaut with a goal, Correa with a goal, and we absolutely love to see that. Okay, 1-1 to begin the regular season. So we'll go ahead and simulate up to the game against the Coyotes. That'll be game number 11 on the season. We know we always want to beat the Coyotes because what they did to us back all those years back then when they stole, well, I should say poached our head coach from us. We have a 5-3 win against the Canucks, a 4-1 win against the Blues. That's 2 wins in a week against them. We lose in the shootout against the Kings 2-1. Buffalo Sabres, we beat them 3-2. Le Canadien Montréal. Oh, here's a trade. Rodin. No, are you serious? They're offering us Patrick Kane. That's crazy. But I'm not giving you 2 good prospects for a guy who's about to retire, despite he would simulate very well. 4-2 win against the Canadiens. The Predators, another chance to beat them. Ooh, we lose 6-5. And an injured stomach. What? Injured stomach? What does that even mean? Like his large intestine? What is going... What? I want to know what's going on. Doc, talk to me. Nicholas Rodin out with an injured stomach. We'll slot in Zach Parise to play on that first line down in Iowa. There we go. Beautiful. But, of course, we have to go, 4-man power play. I said fill in all lines, but I guess you didn't understand me. There we go. Wonderful. 6-5 loss there. Then we got 2 more games here. Another game against the Blues coming up. 5-1 loss against the Penguins. That one stings. S.L. Lindell, no thank you. And the Blues, who are 4-6-1, we beat them 6-2 3 times in 4 weeks. And Rodin is healthy. Fantastic. What did Parise do down there in Iowa? 2 games, 2 goals. What an absolute tank. Love to see it. Take some time off, Zach. You've done enough. Rodin back in the lineup. So we're 6-3-1 through our first 10 games. I don't want to go through all the stats, but I just want to look at a couple... Ooh, Kaprizov killing. I just want to look at a couple people, most notably Burakovsky, Sergachev, and Botter. So Burakovsky has 1 goal, 3 assists, +2, not bad. Sergachev, 1 goal, 5 assists, +3. And Botter, 5 assists, +3. All right, they're playing for their lives, and they are showing up. They're doing well. So let's simulate this game against the Coyotes, and then we'll get like another 15 games simulated on the calendar, and we can just start flying through this regular season at the XL Energy Center. First period, 0-0. We're at home. Everyone's booing Popovich. They're throwing banana peels and tomatoes onto the bench. Security had to come in. Even though they're smiling and nodding their head, they understand they have to stop it from happening. We want to worship Colton Reinprecht and show the Coyotes why we are happy that they took away Popovich, and we have a better head coach now. Nothing happening here in the second period. We'll end it 1-1. So Kevin Fiala with 3:39, and then Sammy Blais with 2:32. Heading in the third period, we are tied at 1. Shots pretty even as well. It is anybody's game here in Minnesota. Who's going to be the hero tonight? Hayton puts the Coyotes ahead 2-1. Still a lot of hockey left to go. 10 minutes left. Power play here. In the third, nothing comes from it. Shots are 32-24. Power play again. We need to convert on this one, and we don't. Oh, no one to blame but ourselves. Shots were 35-26, and we lose 2-1. Who's this guy? Dolak. 34 saves. Hellebuck made 34, but Barrett Hayton beat him. Man, I hope Popovich had some personal security going into the parking lot after this one. That's a brutal loss. But let's get to game 25, which is in another month. It's going to be on the 2nd against the San Jose Sharks. So let's just start simulating through the calendar and see what happens. Now, what kind of trade offers are these? Wanting all my prospects. 4-1 win against the Avalanche. We're 7-4-1 at the moment. Oh, the Flyers are a very good team, and they beat us 3-0. They shut us out. The Oilers, we have a lot of playoff hard feelings against them. Botter was fully healed. A lot of hard feelings against the Oilers. Colorado Avalanche, we're 11-3-3. We lose 6-5 in the shootout after beating them the week before. 4-1 loss to the Blues. We beat them the first 3 games of the season. They have to beat us eventually. Coyotes, we're seeing them again. This time we beat them 4-1, and then we shut out the Oilers 4-0. Let's go. Let's get back to our winning ways. And we lose 3-2 against Calgary. 6-5 shootout loss against Dallas. 9-8-3. This is getting a bit scary here. Let's get a couple dubs here. 5-1 against Dallas, then 6-3 loss against Nashville. We're just staying on that 500 bubble. Toronto Maple Leafs, who are 12-10-2. We lose 5-1. Man. Then the Winnipeg Jets. Emil Bemstrom injured elbow. Head coach can replace him. 5-1 loss. Wow. Now, just like that, we're 10-11-3. 10-11-3. What is going on here? Under 500 for game 25. Yikes. Kaprizov, Rossi, they're killing it. But after that, it really drops off big time. Boldy, Greenway doing well. Krug, Sergachev doing well. But I don't know why it's such a big divide. Double the amount of points from Rossi and Kaprizov. -1, -8 from Fiala. 9 goals, but only 11 points. Kostin 10. -6 from Shaw with only 9 assists. And Kovanov as well, -6. Burakovsky, 7 points, -3. Fourth line's not great at -5. Korea, -7. Tarky, -4. Yikes. Goaltending, what's up over here? Hellebuck, 8-10-2. Whoa, 881 save percentage. 3.32 goals against average. Like, the plus minuses are not terrible. The point totals are a bit concerning, but Hellebuck's numbers here, those are scary, especially for an 89 overall. Morozov, 2-1-1. He's shown up when he's had to. So this isn't enough to make me want to, like, overhaul and start trading everybody, especially Sergachev, who's been playing pretty solid. But I do want to make some line changes here, especially to the just anywhere but the first line. I think the second, third, fourth line could all use a little help here. Fiala and Boldy are scoring. Lambert is not assisting very much. So let's try putting Kovanov to the second line, Lambert to the third line. I'm going to bring Comtois to the third line here to play with Lambert and Kostin. And then I want to take out Burakovsky. I want to take out Shaw first. I want to put Kevin Hayes, play him as fourth line center. And then Burakovsky as a sniper. I want to try putting Parise in. It might be crazy, but I want to try Parise. Actually, I can't bring up Parise unless I send down Kevin Hayes. So actually, I can't do Parise, but we can do Chekovich. So let's try him instead of Burakovsky, just to give him a chance in the lineup here to prove himself. He had a good season down in Iowa last year with the Wild. He scored 58 points in 76 games, 67 the season before. So I think he's deserved some NHL action finally. Only 76 faceoffs. Hayes 77. Okay, so he'll play center. Actually, you know what? Chekovich the third line, so Comtois can keep the +1 on the fourth line. And let's try that. Hopefully the second line can wake up with Kovanov there. Sergachev and Botter hasn't been bad. Maybe let's try swapping Ellington and Botter, and Krug can keep killing it. And Tarky and Korea, though, that's what's scaring me a little bit more. I'd be tempted to swap Korea out with a guy like Sami Vatanen here. That's what's tempting me. But again, to bring up somebody else has to go down. So in theory, we could send down Korea, right? Because he's not waiver eligible. So we could send down Demetrius Korea and then call up Sami Vatanen. And you know what? That is exactly what I'm going to do. Sami Vatanen, welcome back to Minnesota. +1. It's been a long time since you've been here. Let's see what you can do. Lines are changed up. Let's get back above 500 and let's wake up. Sharks are 8-15-1. We're 10-11-3. We're 3-5-2 in our last 10. They're on a 10-game losing streak. They were 8-5-1. Now they're 8-15-1, unless the streak is even longer than that. 0-10 in their last 10. First period, 4-0. Let's go. Rossi, Greenway, Costin, 3 goals on Braden Holtby. That's why they're doing so bad. And then Ellington, Skylar Ellington. I think that's his first career goal. I'm not sure if he already had one. But Skylar Ellington on Mackay, whatever, however you want to pronounce that. Shots 13-5. Second period, 5-1. Patrice Bergeron against the team that he played with a little bit a few years back on the power play against us. But then Matthew Boldy comes back, restores that 4-goal lead, and that is what we hold heading into the third period. Power play Sharks, power play Wild. Nothing comes from either one. Power play once again for us. That's killed off again. Power play has not been doing a lot, but Kevin Fiala scores nonetheless, 6-1. And you know what? Let's just call it there. Huge statement victory. Shots 38-15. Boldy goal and 2 assists, Fiala goal and assist, and Lambert 2 assists as the third line center. Wonderful. Huge, huge statement win. Chekovich gets an assist and a +2 against his old team. Kevin Hayes got 10 minutes of ice time, did pretty well. And Sami Vatanen with 11 minutes of ice time and a ± of 0. Could not ask for much more than that. So with this team looking as it does now, let's get some more simulation done and hope that those changes were enough. Let's give it, that was one game, let's give it like 6 more, let's say. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's go see the Vancouver Canucks, another bad team at the moment. So hopefully that'll be a little ego booster, a little confidence booster for us once that happens. Ducks are 16-8-4. We lose 2-1. They want to give us Griffin for Sjogren in a third. Wow, that's a big deal. That's a huge offer. Griffin, what's Griffin looking like? He's, whoa, 88 overall. He's an 88 overall two-way forward, the 8th overall selection in 2021. Whoa. Russ Griffin, he's in some contract disputes, but I don't think he can play this season. Despite that, he'd be in our lineup next season. 61 points in 82 games. And they want me to give them Sven Sjogren. Oh, what? Who's up to an 80 overall? He's killing it, Sven. He was our 15th overall selection in 2024. 96 passing. A little crazy on the stats there, but 5-star skating, 5-star physical, and a third-round selection. That's an amazing offer, but I don't think we need Griffin, and I'd rather keep Sjogren on that right wing, a position that is very weak on this team. We don't really have a lot of right wingers, but we have the center depth. I don't think we really need to take that deal, but really crazy offer. I guess we could keep that in mind, but an 88 overall two-way forward, I'm not sure where we would put him because we already have Rossi and Lambert. We don't need a third-line 87 overall guy like once Lambert continues to grow. So I'll say no, I suppose, but thank you for asking, New York. That's really crazy. Separated shoulder for Rodin. First his stomach's gurgling, now his shoulder is separated from his body. He's out for months. That is great. One of our top prospects is gone. So I guess Zach Parise is going to be getting a lot of ice time down in Iowa. May as well. There you go, Zach. Can we move him around to maybe, you know what, we could put Tracy top line. Let's do that. And also, Demetrius Kirill, I don't know how long he's going to be down here, so we may as well just try and swap, get him some ice time. If these menus could not be so sticky. Fantastic. We got a +3 with Anderson. Great. Hollowell, he can go here with Cody Ceci. We love Cody Ceci. And bang. Demetrius Kirill can keep going there in Iowa. Don't want to do that. All right, so 2-1 loss against the Ducks. A 4-3 overtime loss to the Predators. Vegas, we beat them 6-1. Nice. Bruins, we beat them 3-2 in the shootout. We're back above 500. Winnipeg Jets, come on, Hellebuck, do it for your old team. Injuries, come on, do it to spite them. You can do it. 5-4 shootout loss. Canucks are 9-22-2. We're 13-12-5. Please, let's get another dub here. These games have been too tight. Let's go. First period, 0-0. Second period, 1-0. Brad Lambert on Michael DiPietro. Shots 21-11. It's only a 1-goal lead. We need to add to that. We got to beat a team like this. We're going to have to do some serious thinking if we can't beat a team like this. Power play, nothing coming from it. Shots 29-15. We're doubling their shots. 33-16. Wow. If you want to just do that, I guess okay. 1-0 the final. 19 save shutout from Maxim Morozov. Possibly the first of his NHL career. 34 saves from DiPietro. Brad Lambert, the game-winning goal. That was way too close for comfort, but a win is a win. And the Vancouver Canucks fire their head coach, James Tennell, after they get shut out 1-0 against the Minnesota Wild. As always, we just want to check out how his fit looks on our team, but wow. Not the first time we get a coach fired. Feeling like the Ottawa Senators out here. Just go to hire coach. Just always curious to see the line fit. Tennell, here he is. NHL associate coach, B-. 64% team fit, nothing crazy. Also, totally forgot, gotta hire assistant and goalie coaches in the AHL. Try to get Stefan Schubert here to be an AHL assistant coach. He wants to be an associate coach. He has A+ in the power play and B for teaching, B- for influence with a 61% fit. Why not? It's impossible to hire a goalie coach because none of them want to be a goalie coach. So whatever, I'll just be happy with another AHL assistant coach if he wants to sign on, that is. Alrighty, back to the simulation here. We want to get to the halfway mark in the season. So that was game 31 we just played. In 10 games, that'll be the halfway mark in the season. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's go see the Chicago Blackhawks. And that'll be game number 41 on the regular season, where we can take a pause, look at the stats. And there we go. Welcome to the Iowa Wild. And either we can stop there, or we could keep going to the trade deadline, depending on how we look. A 4-0 shutout win against the Ducks. You love to see that. But then a 2-1 loss against the Vegas Golden Knights and a 5-4 shootout loss against the Canucks. Tampa Bay, we beat them 3-1 at least. Cody Ceci, concussion, out till February 5th. Travis Hamonic gets some ice time. There you go. New York Islanders coming up here. We lose 7-3 against them. Hellebuck, man, you're killing me. 5-1 win against the Blue Jackets at least. A few more games until the halfway mark. 4-3 loss against the Rangers. Tight games. 5-2 win. All right, we're going back and forth and a 3-2 win. So we're 19, 15, and 6 as we play game number 41 here against the Blackhawks at the XL Energy Center. Let's do it. Kaprizov at 31 goals and 52 points as we're heading into the halfway mark. Can he get a little bit more? Let's see what we can look like as we'll be comparing him to the rest of the NHL as well. First period, 0-0. Second period, 4-1 Chicago. What is happening? Kane, Nylander, DeBrincat. 3-0. Kaprizov beats Binnington. Classic Binnington in nets there, killing us. And then De La Gorgendière. Who's this guy? De La Gorgendière makes it 4-1. Down by 3 here in the third. Come on, get on the horses. Power play time. No, why would we want to capitalize on the power play early in the period? How about another early power play? There we go. Brad Lambert. Power play expired from no angle at the goal line. We're within 2. Power play Chicago. We kill that one off. Another power play for us. And there we go. Matthew Boldy again as power play expires. We're down by 1. 3 minutes to go. Is there a little bit of life in this game? Let's, you know what, just for laughs. 33 seconds to go. Let's hop into it. All right. We are at home. Down by 1 with 50 seconds to go. The Blackhawks are on a 6-game losing streak. They're up 4-1. Now we're back within 1. Aturati scores. There we go. That's why we came in, just for the laughs. We're down by 1. The fourth line goes out there and gives up a goal to Aturati, 13th of the season. That is why we came in, just to put some more coals on our heads. There we go. Morozov. What are you doing? Then he gets his head, his vertebrae snapped. His skull is getting fractured. And he just, oh, got fooled on the poke check. And then his thoracic spine just got bent in half. Fantastic. Down by 2 now. Is there any heroics? Pulling the goalie. Do we anything held on the boards? Let's get it into the Chicago zone at least. First time. Greenway. Ellington. Boldy. That's blocked by Kane. Is he going to get it out? He does not. Throws it into the center, and Ellington recovers. Gives it back to Kaprizov, who's over the blue line now, trying to set up a presence in the zone. Kaprizov. Empty net. Let's go. Ellington. A score! Skylar Ellington, I think. Yes, it is. Skylar Ellington. What a beard. Beautiful beard. And we're back within 1. His 3rd of the season. That was a lucky goal that took a bounce over the sprawling Jordan Binnington. Look at the mascot. He's loving it. That's a huge, huge goal. Still down by 1. We will take it right there. Skylar Ellington. Beautiful, man. Bounce right there, yeah. All right, not done yet. 22.4 seconds to go. Ellington from Kaprizov. We have a little bit of life here. Let's try and get it going really soon. It gives it to Ratti right away. Broken up by Sergachev, though. Great breakup. And now here comes Greenway. That's in, Bello. Come on. Greenway. Put it in front. On the doorstep. Scores! It's a 5-5 game. Yes! Kirill Kaprizov comes through. Let's go. That's his second of the night. 33rd of the season. And he assisted on Skylar Ellington's. Yes. The Minnesota Wild have a little bit of fight in them. Great breakup from Sergachev. Great pass on the doorstep from Jordan Greenway, and Kaprizov, with the A on his jersey, tucks it home. This game is tied at 5. Win or lose, that is a great effort and really shows character. Very proud of this team for once. After the tough season we've been having. Greenway and Sergachev getting the assists. We're not in overtime yet, though. Don't let the Brinket walk in. Sergachev breaks it up. And we are headed to overtime. Shots 32-24 for the Wild. 5-5 headed into overtime. Let's get that crowd meter going. Make some noise at the XL Energy Center. Kaprizov and Rossi against DeBrincat and Strome. A big divisional rivalry here in Game 41. Klingberg and, I would assume, Krug are the defensemen out there, as we have an opportunity to come back for a huge win. But DeBrincat, big save from Morozov, who's still in the net. Okay, here's a great attack here. 2-on-1. Kaprizov with Rossi. Now it's a 2-on-2 as they get men back. Set it up. Krug. Oh, that's blocked in the slot. Rossi back to Krug. Rossi. Kaprizov. He gets hit by Klingberg before he can really get a shot off. DeBrincat back in his own hole, and Kaprizov regains it to Rossi. That's poked away from Bennington. Now Strome leading a charge back in the Minnesota zone. That's poked away by Krug. Kaprizov, Krug over to Rossi. It's a 2-on-2. Tries to windmill, but gets demolished into the boards for even trying it. Don't you try that in the Chicago zone, says Dylan Strome. Klingberg into the Minnesota territory. Everyone's just letting him walk in. I'm not sure if Morozov got a piece of that or if that was kind of blocked. Big hit on DeBrincat. Now here comes Sergachev to Kaprizov. He has some space. Sergachev's wide open. Gets the puck, but a big pad save from Bennington, who kicks it aside. Klingberg up to Kirby Dach now. Just over a minute left in overtime. Kirby Dach finds room. Oh, Patty Kane's wide open, and that's going to be every single day of the week. With the C on his jersey, Patty Kane will always finish that, as we lose 6-5 in overtime. But what a comeback. Down 5-2. Or was it 5-3 or 5-2? Either way, a really big comeback. But Patty Kane will always get you. Krug pinching a bit. Nah, I guess that was to be expected. It was Morozov who let in a weak goal. That wasn't even a great shot. Let's see it from this angle. Yeah, like it just went slightly over his pad. No. But hey, it was a good one. That was a good game. Patty Kane, 3rd star. Shots were 33-26. 6 goals on 26 shots against Morozov is what killed us. Senators have fired their head coach, Antoine Parks. So after 41 games, the Senators have fired their head coach. Not sure what their record is at. Parks is an A- rated coach, forwards coach. Interesting. And oh, what? 63% team fit? That is so tempting. That is insanely tempting. Oh boy, this is how he looks. Man. I mean, if you really want to talk about Antoine Parks, you could say something at the end in the comments or on the Discord. I'm not going to fire the coach just yet, especially when he has such a high fit for guys who are probably on their way out, like Krug. But that's really good fits for Boldy, Rossi, Kaprizov, Fiala. Oof, it's down, like guys like Botter and Hayes, not good fits, but that doesn't really matter. Just as an update here for offensive defensemen, I've been doing some scouting. There is no offensive defenseman who fits better than all penalty kill lines or deep pairing 3. The only defenseman who comes close is Adam Boquist, who fits deep pairing 2. Aside from that, no offensive defenseman fits deep pairing 1 or all deep pairs or anything like that. So that is tough. Yeah, I went all the way down to like 80 overall, and after that, we're not really looking beyond that. So yeah, that's a yikes for if we're looking for a big offensive defenseman. But just to keep note, I'm still doing some scouting, but just to keep note as along the way here. So through the halfway mark here, we're at the halfway mark of the regular season, year number 6. Kirill Kaprizov with 55 points in 41 games. Marco Rossi with 50, so he's waking up a little bit. After being just a pure assist machine last season, he is getting some goals now, back to his rookie and sophomore form. 50 points in 41 for him. Boldy, now aside from Rossi and Kaprizov, The rest of the team's waking up a little bit. 32 points from Boldies, 29 from Greenway, 28 from Torrey Krug, who still got it, 90 overall. Fiala, 15 goals, 25 points. Sergachev, 1 goal, 25 points in 41 games, plus 9. Kovanov, 18. Lambert, only 17. Now, that's what's scaring me. Brad Lambert at only 17. That's what's making me think more about Russ Griffin over on the New York Rangers. We're still not done with him yet. That's definitely going to be something we think about before next episode. Klim Kostin, 16, -2. Comtois, 11. Kaut. Tarky, 10, -1. So Burakovsky's been out for a little while, and so has Shaw. We weren't really impressed with them. Their replacements, Kevin Hayes, 5 points and a +2, and then Sami Vatanen, 5 points and a +3. So it looks like Hayes and Vatanen are doing better than Shaw and, sorry, it's not Tarky, Shaw and Korea, who got sent down. And even Chekovich, sorry, I forgot about him, 5 points and -1 for Chekovich. Goaltending, Hellebuck, please, 887. I'm really tempted to just move Connor Hellebuck, who's on an expiring deal, and just go get another goalie on an expiring deal. 887 save percentage, 2.99 goals against. I can't have this in the playoffs. 14, 14, and 3. Morozov, 5, 1, and 4 with 3 shutouts. 3 of his 5 wins are shutouts. That's insane. AHL, how's Korea looking? I'm just curious. Rodin had 20 points in 24 games before he got injured. And Korea, is he doing... Parise, 13 and 13. And Korea has 3 points plus 5 in 11 games. I've also been looking through team fits for two-way defenders, and same case scenario. Like Thomas Chabot, he fits all D pairs, which is nice, but aside from that, a lot of nuns and a lot of D pairing 3. Timothy Liljegren, though, 88 overall, he has 1 year left on his deal. He fits all D, all power play, all penalty kill. So this guy seems like an absolute dream for us, Timothy Liljegren. 5-star defense, so man, he's someone to consider, possibly even more than Chabot. A little less value than Thomas Chabot. Sorry, Chabot's up here, but it's pretty negligible. Chabot, though, he is signed for, well, 2.5 years at $8 million, while Liljegren would be expiring. Does not have an extension lined up. Aside from that, there's Morgan Riley's on the Canadians, or what? All D pairings maybe for Morgan Riley. D pairing 2 for Charlie McAvoy. A lot of D pairing 2s, but not a lot of all D. Oh, Victor Hedman, all D pairings. Did not notice that. So 87 overall at 4 more years. Yeah, that's a crazy contract for Hedman. We can't do that. And then after that, there's no one else in the league who fits all D pairings. There's a bunch of guys who fit D pairing 2, but no one else for all D. Here, Connor Timmins, actually. 85 overall, fits all D pairings, power play lines, and penalty kill 1. 4 more years at 5.4. Decent fair amount of trade value for sure. It would be an expensive pickup. Top 4 pairings for Jake Chikrin as well. 85, 4 more years at $6 million for him. Oscar Klefbom, 84 overall. He fits all D, all power play, all penalty kill. He has 2 more years at 6.885. Trade value less, but a bit more expensive in less term, and older in age as he's 32. Lucas Johansson, 84 overall, 85 offensive awareness. He fits all D pairings, 2 more years at 4.94. Ryan Pulock fits top 4 D pairings, 3 more years at 5.4. But again, I don't know why I keep fooling myself, because D pairing 1 and 3 are exactly the same with the balance and shoot. So if we see that they're fitting D pairing 3, that means they could also fit D pairing 1. So I've just been fooling myself this whole time again. So I guess we could make, so really if they fit none, they fit none. But if they fit D pairing 3, then that means they fit D pairing 1, like Cale Makar here. So yeah, so as I just went through that whole thing back there, you could kind of rewatch it and reassess in different eyes. But guys like Jamie Drysdale, for example, fits none. Quinn Hughes fits all penalty kill lines. So there's still a lot of names here. If you want to hear more about any names in particular, just let me know and I could check their line fit and we could talk in the Discord server or down in the comments about it. So all that having been said, we still want to go a little bit more before we take a pause. I don't want to go all the way to the deadline, but just into the month of February. So let's go to the last game here against the LA Kings before the All-Star break. We'll sim through the All-Star break and we'll stop before that game against the Penguins for wanting to assess whether or not we're going to be making any changes. 6-0 shutout win against the Buffalo Sabres. Blackhawks, we lose 6-1. I'm telling you right now, if we have a big blowout, oh my goodness, 5-3 and 4-2. I'm starting Morozov for the next, until the end of the All-Star break. I'm starting Morozov. Hellebuck, 889 save percentage. Morozov, 902. He's gone down, back a bit down to earth, but Until he gives, unless he has a huge blowout loss, I'm playing him the next few games here. Ottawa Senators, who are 17, 26, and 4. We win 3-2. Red Wings, who are 22, 20, and 6. We're back at home. Central Scouting, blah, blah, blah. We win 6-3. Wonderful. Flames, who are 18, 26, and 5. We lose 3-1. And you know what? Morozov's been good enough that I would want to give him one more game. But this could be the last game before we possibly even trade Hellebuck if things just keep going terribly. So I'm going to put Hellebuck in. If he could get me a solid performance, that could go a long way towards not trading him. But a bad game could be the end of his tenure here, because on an expiring deal, I have nothing to lose. I have no problem trading him if we could get a better goalie in return for the playoffs. First period here against the Kings, 2-1. Kaprizov, then Kostin on the power play. Anderson Dolan beats Hellebuck 1 goal on 4 shots. Second period, no scoring. Shots are 23-11. Only a 1-goal lead here. Who's in nets for the Kings? Allenfelt. Hugo Allenfelt. What's he doing? Power play goes nowhere. Almost doubling the Kings' shots. The scoring isn't coming through either. 2 goals on 32 shots against Hugo Allenfelt. Hellebuck isn't playing amazing, but only 1 goal allowed on 19 shots, and we take the win, 2-1. That was a close one. Hellebuck had a decent save percentage at least. Hugo makes 34 saves, and that's another win that's just way too close for comfort. Way too close. So we'll sim to the next game, but then we're going to take our pause after 49 games into the season. All right, so now here we are on February 3rd. After 49 games, we find ourselves the record of 23, 19, and 7. You know what? I looked at a lot of points, but I kept forgetting to look at the power play, penalty kill, stuff like that. So at least we'll take a moment now to do so. In the entire NHL, we find ourselves in 19th place. Not amazing. We're scoring goals, but letting in 2.88 a game. Our power play is at 18%, which is not bad. We're in the top half, I'd say, at 18%, or we're closer to the middle, actually. Pretty much pretty much the middle, maybe even closer to the lower half, to be honest. Penalty kill, 81.5. That puts us in the higher half, I think, right? 81.5? A little, yeah, pretty smack in the middle there, 81.5% on the penalty kill. Both could be better. Yeah, both could be better. Kaprizov, 61 points in 49 games. Rossi, 56. Then it really drops off again. Boldy, 38. Greenway, 32. Krug, 30 and 49, which is good. Fiala, 29. Sergachev, 29. And a plus 17. That's huge. Kovanov, 24. Kostin, 22. Lambert's killing me with only 21 points and a -5 this season. Only 6 power play points as well. Maybe putting him back to power at the center on the second unit would be a better idea. I don't know. Comtois 14, Tarky -5. Ellington's a plus 13 with 10 points. Kevin Hayes 7 points in 25 games. Botter's a plus 9 with 6 assists. I don't know what to say. Hellebuck 890 save percentage, 2.93 goals against average, and Morozov 902, 2.61 against. Records looking like that. Man, just a lot of questions. So before we end it off, we just got to look at the trade blocks of other teams in the NHL. Russ Griffin is still someone we really want to be thinking about. I threw that question over to the Discord server, and Tic Tac left a comment saying that his defensive category and outstanding base stats make it almost a no-brainer, assuming that we can make the cap work. His D stats mean that down the road, if you have an offensive prospect that doesn't have great defensive stats, you can play them with Griffin for some strong balance in your top 6. So Griffin would be amazing, just where does he fit? I don't think the cap's a huge issue. It's just where would he fit? I'm open to it. Someone needs to explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old, and then we're good to go. So let's look at the trade blocks here. Looking at skaters on the block, we got Isaac Lundstrom, who's another RFA on the block here for the Anaheim Ducks. A great playmaking centerman. We don't know about his line fit, but I love Isaac Lundstrom. If you saw the NHL 20 franchise mode with the Ducks. Coyotes have nobody. Bruins, nobody. Shillington, 83 overall offensive defenseman, doesn't fit any of the lines. Terrible contract, not going to happen. Rasmus Anderson fits power play and PK. He's a two-way D. 1 year at 4.5. Interesting. Sami Niku also here. Fits deep pairing 2. Two-way D. That's a big contract, though. Hurricanes have Evgeny Sveshnikov on the block, 31 points in 50 games, and he fits all penalty kill lines. Good contract. And then we got Dylan Chiasson. Patrick Kane on the block here in Chicago. Fits the top 6. That would be great to get Patrick Kane. Just a simulation machine. He has 53 points in 51 games, and he is on the final year of his contract. Oh, Patrick Kane would be amazing. Charlie Coyle also on the block, power forward, fits pretty much everything. Dallas, Zaitsev, Orlov, and Nathan Beaulieu. Deep pairing 2 maybe, if that's even the right coach. Deep pairing 3, they didn't even really read. Shea Theodore on the block still for the Red Wings, 3 more years at 7.8. Fits power play lines, it's a 2-way D. Dougie Hamilton, crazy contract. Actually, in Philip Hronik, what is he, a 2-way D? Yeah, he's a 2-way D. Fits the top 4 and penalty kill. 5 more years. What are these crazy contracts? Matt Zuccarello was down there. Nobody, just prospects and prospects. Blake Coleman, no. I'll just give him a quick look. 1 year left on his deal. It doesn't fit, it says. More prospects. Islanders, prospects. Rangers, Griffin. There's Griffin again if you want to see his stats one more time. We wouldn't be able to use him this season, but we could trade a prospect that we're not using now and get him for next season at the lowest price that he will ever be. Pretty much just for swapping 2-way forward prospects and then getting him for a 3rd round pick. That is crazy. So Russ Griffin is a huge question next episode. More prospects from the Rangers. Prospects on the Senators. Flyers. Ooh, wow. It's a fire sale in Philadelphia. You got Couturier on the block. Provorov on the block. You got Timashov, playmaker on the block. Philip Danault. Not a lot of good line fits. Thomas Hertl. And then look, these are all their contracts. Most of them are multi-year. There are a few with 1 year left down here, like Travis Sanheim or even Jason Zucker. Oof, wow, that's a massive fire sale. We could pick up somebody if we had to with prospects. Like we have prospects to burn, like Hextall, that we could trade. Penguins have Jamie Benn on the block as he fits power play 2. Okay. And he's also, sorry, I forgot to check his contract. Expiring deal for him. Pearson, Ryan Pulock, like we spoke about earlier, he's on the block and he possibly fits the top D, top 4D as a 2-way defenseman. Oscar Klefbom, another guy we spoke about, fits possibly all D pairings, power plays, etc. I'll even do a complete report on him just to make sure. Same for Pulock, just to, if we're curious to find that out. Then there's also Falk and Devon Tays, as they're pretty much selling all their defense there in St. Louis. Tampa Bay prospects, Maple Leafs prospects, Canucks nobody, Golden Knights, Essa Lindell, 3 more years of 5.2, doesn't fit any of the lines, and the Capitals prospects, Jets prospects. Okay, last thing is to look at goalies, possible goalies on the block here, just if there's literally anyone who's of NHL caliber who we could think about being our starter if we were to move Connor Hellebuck. Panthers have Bobrovsky on the block. He's in the last year of that $10 million contract. He's playing as a backup, I guess, to Spencer Knight, and his numbers aren't bad, but he's not really playing a lot at all. Has 90 poise, which is nice. And then over on the Kings, Darcy Kemper, 81 overall, getting paid $9.5 million. His numbers are pretty good numbers, I have to say. So it wouldn't cost a lot to get those guys at all with those crazy contracts. Just to make note that they're on the block. Tristan Jarry on the block. There he is. 2 years left at $10 million. Don't think we're going to go after him. And that is it for goalies on the block. So not a lot of options if we're going to go out and get a goalie on the block. We could, in theory, just trade for a goalie, period. Because I'm sure there's a lot of goalies that just don't have a lot of trade value. Like Elvis Merzlikins here, we could go and get him at an 84 overall. Freddie Anderson at an 83. Markstrom at an 83. So just because they're not on the block, they just don't have a lot of value. Like we could even get Binnington. Yusei Saros maybe. Like Yusei Saros, crazy. Only 1 year left on his deal. Hellebuck, he has the value. So would it be absolutely insane to go out and get a good goalie with value like Binnington or Saros? Not really. Demko at an 84. I'm pretty much going through the entire league again here. Leonard, Grubauer, Matt Murray, Caden Primo, Spencer Knight at an 87. See, like, Spencer Knight at an 87. Elite potential, 24 years of age, locked up. Well, not locked up, but still, really crazy that their trade value is so low. Price at an 83. Last year of his deal, probably. Askarov, 84. That's too much value, I think. Same for Shesterkin. 85 for Blackwood. Mrazek, 83. Gustafson, 88 overall over on the Flyers. Linus Ullmark, 82. Holtby, 85, no chance. Riddick, 84. Vasilevsky, no chance. Sorokin, 85. Korpisalo and DiPietro Nedeljkovic, 84 and 82. Peterson 83, Samsonov 87, Carter Hart not going to happen. Okay, so sorry for running through all that like twice, but there are the goalies as well in the NHL. So the question is, what do we do with this lineup moving into the rest of the regular season? Not impressed with Brad Lambert, not impressed with pretty much anyone outside of the first line. Defense plus minuses have been decent. I'm not super impressed with Tarkey, and Vatanen's whatever. I'm not super impressed with Tarkey. The rest of the top four has not been really bad. Hellebuck has not been good. And yeah, we have some questions. But either way, I'll go ahead and end it there. We have $15.358 million of cap space, so we can still do a lot of things. Could think about extending Kovanov next episode. Only wants $3 million, so we could think about that. And yeah, just let me know your thoughts in the comments over on the Discord server. The link for that is in the description. We can talk more about possible fits. If you want to know anything, leave a comment or send me a message and I'll look into that specific player. Anyone you want me to scout perhaps. But without further ado, we will end it there. So thank you so much for watching. Like I said, thank you again for 2,500 subscribers here on the channel. I hope you enjoyed this episode, as it was a bit of a bureaucratic one at the beginning, going through a lot of the red tape of chemistry and talking about fits and all that stuff. But nonetheless, the fact of the matter is we are 23, 19, and 7, and we have to get this team ready for a deep playoff run. So any and all suggestions are appreciated. I look forward to them, and I will see you in the next one.